Hello, hello. This is Hendrix. If you are watching this video, you are expecting to find a slider analysis of NBA 2K23 on rookie mode CPU versus CPU. Now, I recently released a video, an introductory video about myself and about what I'm doing here, about how I feel about CPU versus CPU and all that. So if you want to take the time, you can go back and watch that before you watch this. Now, I wish to emphasize that this is not a review of gameplay. This is a critique of CPU versus CPU sliders on the rookie mode and how it affects the gameplay being presented on screen. Now, since I am not actually playing the game with my own two hands, I'm letting the AI handle all those duties. I am critiquing how this game represents basketball, how it looks visually, how the gameplay happens, when the animations launch. Does it look like it makes sense? Are they actual basketball plays? These are the things I'm going to be talking about. Now, it is important to note that the default difficulty setting is rookie mode, and these sliders are optimized for that mode. Now, we could talk about Hall of Fame mode, and I probably will do an analysis of that mode at a later time, but for the purpose of this is rookie mode. Now, I edit the sliders by going in to association mode, options, tuning sliders, and then at the bottom, CPU user. If you look up, you could use the RT, LT trigger buttons to select CPU. Don't worry about user, only edit CPU, and then choose game style and move it off whatever it is and select rookie. That will preload all the settings. Now, here we are. The first set of sliders is about shooting and scoring. These are all set to 30 by default on rookie mode. This is optimized for that mode, so you don't want to move those off 30. But you will be changing shot timing impact to 50. You will be changing dunk and traffic success to 30, ball security from 0 to 50, and that should be pretty obvious why. On rookie, it's pretty hard to force turnovers, and you do want the players to be fallible, so to speak. And I could definitely go through each one of these settings and explain why I think they need to be changed or stay put. I don't think there's a lot of time for that here now, but I could definitely visit that in the future. Now, these in here, these defensive ratings, driving contact shot frequency, layup defense strength, these are all important for how the game plays on the mode that you selected. Hopefully I get a chance to explain that a little more later. Now, when it comes to steal success, you're going to want to bump that up to 50. Anytime you see steal, you're always going to want to bump that up. There's just not enough steals on rookie mode. Acceleration stays at 40. Anything above that, you start to get the turbo and the boosts. Ball handling can stay at 40. You don't want them to be too proficient at handling the ball. See earlier statement about steals. Hands, you can bump that up to 35. I like that rating there. On-ball defense, keep that at 40. That way they're not too much in your face. There's some opportunity for error there. Steals, 50. Bump that up. And blocking, I don't know why they have this set to 10. I like it at 50, so bump it up. And that also will cause more challenges to happen, and that'll lower the field goal percentage, which is usually high on rookie mode. I like offense and defense awareness at 25 each. 25 just to give it a little bit more awareness on the court. I know this sounds redundant. It's little things that you notice. When it's low, players don't make their cuts, they don't run to their spots, they don't get off screens. On defense, you see a lot of the same stuff. They don't get around screens. They don't move with a sense of urgency. Just bump it up 5 points. I've found that that's a nice little happy medium. And the game will still play pretty good. You could apply the same logic to offensive and defensive consistency. Just bump that up 5 points. I think it's how the player ratings hold up over long stretches. 5 games, 10 games, maybe longer. And going back to rebounding, I didn't mean to gloss over that. Rebounding is really important. I wouldn't touch these. Keep them at 30. Offensive rebounding can be overpowering sometimes, and It could be ugly in gameplay sometimes when there's just a whole bunch in a row. I just keep this at 50. The really good rebounders will dominate. That's just the way the game is. You just have to be willing to live with that. Lateral quickness, keeps that at 40. That's one of those ratings that determines how the game plays. Rookie mode is best when lower. And now pushing on down, we're now in tendencies. Lateral quickness, you want to keep that at 40. That's one of those ratings that really changes the way defense plays. Attack the basket, you might want to bump this up 1. This is kind of user choice. I like to bump it up 1 sometimes. And contest shots, I find that they don't contest enough. So bump that up 10 points, 35. Pretty good spot for it. Okay, we'll be taking a look at fouls. We'll be making some adjustments there. We'll be bumping these up wholesale. They just don't call enough fouls in rookie mode. Over the back foul frequency, 55. Charging foul, 55. Blocking foul, 55. Reaching foul frequency, 75. And my logic there is if the defender gets caught reaching in, trying to get a steal, maybe that'll help get into the bonus situation a little more and attempt some more foul shots, because they just don't attempt enough foul shots in this game. Shooting foul frequency, probably don't have to say, 100. Loose ball foul frequency, 55. And illegal screen frequency, 50. I actually don't touch this at all. I've seen some weird things happen with screen activity and warping and turbo and just some other things, so I didn't like what I saw, so 50. So you could see here what I've done. I've bumped these up all on average 25 points, with the exception of the ones that needed a little more help. Fouls just need a little extra help on rookie mode. That's just the way it goes here. Now we're getting into movement, and we don't touch any of these, not for any mode. This is just very well tuned by 2K, and I know there's a lot of slider sets out there that adjust these. I don't think it's a good idea to mess with them. I think the game plays well as it is. Alright folks, well guess what? We're ready to play the game now. Finally, right? So what I've done here is started up an association with the 2002 San Antonio Spurs using Eras, NBA Eras, which is a new game mode that 2K started this year. Apparently there's a lot of interest in legacy teams and legacy players. Who would have thought that, huh? This is a really great game mode that 2K has created for us. They even crafted how the game plays and with game rules and just how the game looks and feels. And the 2002 era is a really cool era because there's still a lot of emphasis on interior play and big man play, but there's also a lot of movement, and there's players breaking out to the three-point line and looking for easy looks out there. Kind of different than the 80s era, which there's not a lot of players going out to the three-point line and looking for their shots. This is a really cool era to play, so I thought it was the perfect era to do a slider analysis on. Okay, well here we go. There's the tip-off, and Derek Fisher brings the ball up, and here we are with one of our first complaints with the game this year. There's a glitch or something that causes the camera angle not to go to what it's default to, so you have to go into the start menu. Kind of a bummer that we have to do that today. But there's also some other things within the settings that we're going to have to take care of really quick. Shot feedback, camera shake, gameplay indicators, ball handler text. Those are just visual indicators on the screen. I like to put those to off because I don't want to see those during gameplay. And then we're going to leave that menu and go to controller settings, and we're going to touch up some things in here. Make sure that the shot timing, release time, and the free throw timing are set to real player percentage, because this is CPU versus CPU, and you don't have to worry about that stuff. You just want player ratings to rule the day here. Okay, we are done with the sliders. Go into camera options, and you don't even have to do anything when you're in there. Just back out, and the camera should be fixed. And here we are analyzing gameplay. And this set right here is one of my favorite sets in the game. Shaq comes over and sets a hard screen. Kobe plants hard and comes around it and just rises for the jump shot. Cans it. I love that play. The screen game is for real, folks. I just love to see a well-executed offense. Now this play right here, it's another screen. Tim Duncan comes over. Derek Fisher tries to get through it, but bounces off a little. Is a little late on the closeout. That's one of the things I love about rookie mode versus other modes here. The defense, they're not always on point. It'll lead to some errors that'll cause a wide open jumper there. It's missed, but if we were playing on Hall of Fame mode, I'm sure Derek Fisher would have got through there, closed out, and probably affected the shot. And that's a nice triple threat by Tony Parker. I'll tell you what, 2K does a really good job of rendering some pretty decent basketball animations. Now there's the post up, a really good entry pass. Tim Duncan's on the block, looking to exploit a mismatch with Kobe. Shaq comes over and he hacks him. Just a really good solid set there. I love the entry pass. Just good basketball, good animation there. Now let's talk stars for a moment as Tim Duncan sets up shop at the free throw line. You just have to appreciate the effort and the work it took to bring the likeness of these players, especially Eros players, and just give it life. Bring their signature styles and their free throws and their character. This is top-notch work, and it's just one of my favorite modes in all of gaming. But looking at Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, these are NBA superstars of the past. And Tim Duncan was in recent games, fairly recent, so was Kobe. But to have Shaq in a game here and playing at the highest level, reliving these moments, this is just video gaming gold right here. Especially for somebody like me who lived these moments, but couldn't really duplicate or simulate it in a video game atmosphere in the time, in the moment, because the games just weren't that realistic. And, you know, it could represent the sport to a degree, but it wasn't like this. This is just spectacular by comparison, of course. Now, I know I've been singing 2K's praises, but they might want to look at that last pass from Kobe to Shaq underneath the basket. Looked like a wonky animation or some bad ball trajectory or something. Left his hand and it didn't look like it was going where it was supposed to go, so they might want to look at that one. Now look alive here. While I was talking, some things happened. David Robinson gets the ball on a pretty good post up, gets absolutely rejected by Shaq, and then they're going the other way, and Kobe takes another screen, and instead of popping up at like the 20-foot line, he gets to about 14 feet or something and just shoots a nice little jumper and hits the back of the rim and goes in. Yeah, just 2K gameplay. You gotta love it. I don't have anything bad to say about anything that happened there. But then, down on the other end of the court, Tim Duncan gets free on a screen, off the ball screen, and swishes a jumper. And I confess, that's probably one of my favorite plays in all of basketball. Just coming off a screen and just making J's. It's good stuff. And then on the other end, looks like Shaquille O'Neal just gets hammered, and he's going to go to the foul line for 2 shots. We'll see if he can hit any of them. Hack a Shaq in full effect right there. Shaquille O'Neal, this guy, first ballot Hall of Famer. One of my favorite players of all time, as he lines up and swishes that foul shot. I have his rookie card. Somebody told me it was worth $20 back in '93. I'm hoping that continued to trend upward. That might be kind of nice. But look at his player model. 2K did a great job with it. His 2002 self is just a huge man, not like his rookie self where he was skinnier. He lines up with that signature free throw style that everybody knows and swishes it. Again. I might have to call a little BS on that one. But off the inbound, Tony Parker races the ball up. Looks like he's going for kind of a mini break and a half-court set. Not sure, but they get set up pretty quickly. And he kind of clears everybody out there, doesn't really do much, and looks like he's just going to dribble in place for a while. Alright, shot clock's running out. He drives to his left and shoots a runner. He doesn't get it, but hey, at least they tried to do something at the end of the shot clock. In past games, I know they would just kind of dribble in place, sometimes with their back to the basket, and just shoot up a shot that would brick. So they're working the ball up. Look at those animations. Those are just nice triple threats. But Kobe passes to Rick Fox, and he launches a three with a hand in his face, and he bricks that one. So that's pretty typical of what you see sometimes. And the defense can be overpowering when you're shooting a three. That's one of the other reasons why I like rookie mode. It's a lot more forgiving on the three-point shot. On the other difficulty modes, they are very, very punishing against late threes on the shot clocks. If there's a hand in your face, very unforgiving. Alright, so Steven Jackson's working on Kobe. Looks like Kobe's at least looking like he's going to try to attempt a steal. The pass goes there and it's tipped by Shaq. Good recovery on there. And Tony Parker drives to his right to end the shot clock and shoots about a 20-footer. It just looked a lot better the way that they executed the end of shot clock scenario there. It might have been further away from the basket, but at least it looked like it had a better chance of going in. It did not, but hey, that's the way that goes. And then there's Shaq, a really quick move to shoot a jumper. That's kind of not what you expect to see from him, but that's what they executed. Sometimes you got to do a little better than that. Now it's the Spurs' turn to execute. They look into the post, find Tim Duncan. The double team comes and Shaq almost gets a steal, but they recover. And Steven Jackson finds David Robinson on the screen roll, and he flushes it down. That's just good basketball, good awareness by Jackson, and you gotta love that. David Robinson, kind of the forgotten Hall of Famer. I'm sure I'll have plenty more opportunities to talk about him. Now here's Kobe at the top of the key. He gets a screen from Big Shot Rob. Executed a step back. Wow. Well, that just shows the full arsenal of moves that Kobe has. And I'm sure all the Kobe fans just love how 2K has put a lot of emphasis into making Kobe play like Kobe. That's just pretty. Okay, so here we are moving forward with the game. Jackson gives it to Tim Duncan at the pitch post, and he shoots a fall-away jump shot. Doesn't make it, but Shaquille O'Neal really strong and aggressive with the rebound. Nice animation there by 2K. Did a good job there. Derek Fisher gets the ball. Shaq flashes across the lane, but he gives it to somebody else. Is that Robert Oyer? Shoots the three, and he doesn't make it. So now here we are at Spurs with the ball. Some nice passing at the top of the key. And David Robinson just got the post up. Smaller man. And he does a spin move, drop step, scores. Gotta love that. You just gotta love inside play by big men. It's such a lost art nowadays, but these are legends right here. That's the Admiral David Robinson. Dream teamer. Alright, so going back the other way, there's Kobe. And he gets a screen, drives to his left, rises for the jump shot, and swishes it. Awesome play by Kobe, just once again showing why he's different from everybody else. Alright, so back and forth, Spurs have it. Steven Jackson's got the ball against Kobe. A screen comes over, it's the Admiral, and he comes across it perfectly and passes it to David in the lane, and he does a little half hook score underneath the basket. Now I do wish that they would drive a little bit more on the higher difficulty modes. They are a lot more proficient at getting to the rim and kicking it out, and especially making those fancy passes. On rookie mode, they could stand to do that a little bit more. And speaking of fancy passes, there's the alley-oop to Kobe, who catches it and kind of turns his head around and tomahawks it. That is just a good dunk. Those are exciting plays, and that'll get the crowd going. I am kind of a sucker for just regular guard plays like pick and rolls and jump shots, but who doesn't love a tomahawk jam? Now here we go. That's a perfect post up by Tim Duncan. It looked like he had a mismatch, and he finds an open teammate who misses a three. And it looks to me like here's kind of the offensive rebounding, overpowering bug. Well, I call it a bug. I'm sure 2K just calls it gameplay, but I do say not to not to mess with the rebounding at all. 30 seems to be a nice place to be. On higher difficulty levels, those will be set at 50 by default. And I think it probably works out when all the other ratings are up to balance it. I have considered bumping down offensive rebounding to 29 maybe, or maybe 28, 25, I don't know. I haven't been brave enough to try it out. We'll stick with 30 here, just know that the really aggressive and dominant rebounders will get their numbers. Offensive rebounds can be a problem in this game, but you just have to decide what you're willing to live with, and I'm okay with the really good rebounders getting quite a few of these. Okay, so after getting the offensive rebound and getting fouled, Tim Duncan hit the first free throw, and he swishes the second one. Alright, so there's a play that happened a couple series ago that I want to get into. It's the pick and roll with Steven Jackson and David Robinson. And David came over, set a pretty good screen, and Steven Jackson kind of rounded around, allowing Kobe to hit the screen, but he went wide enough so he can get around it and then kick the ball to David. This is where it's really important to have the slider setting for offensive awareness to be set a little higher than it defaults to. It defaults to 20 on rookie mode. You get set to 25. But on 20, a lot of times, the ball handler who's trying to go around the screen will run into the screener. And he'll bounce off, and of course it'll create that really ugly animation that we've seen. Set it to 25, you'll have a lot more success. Still may run into it on occasion. Most of the time they're rounding off right, and you saw in that play how it rounds out. If you set it to 50 on higher difficulty modes, a lot of times all the other settings are set up as well, so everything looks really great from that standpoint. You also have the defensive awareness to balance it. So in the case of 25, you'll also want the defensive awareness to balance it out at 25. That should create some really nice animations to where it executes most of the time, maybe not all the time, and that's what you would expect. So we've been neglecting some of the gameplay on the court here, but some reserves have checked in, and Kobe Bryant just absolutely abuses Manu Ginobili. This is early Ginobili. Maybe not necessarily best sixth man of all time or best second round pick of all time Ginobili. Just gets around him and just slams just on his head. Actually dunks on Tim Duncan's head, it looks like. Just a really brutal dunk. Okay, so there's Steve Kerr. He's in the game, one of my favorite Bulls ever. He gets the ball down low to Tim Duncan. Draws a double team. He throws up a hook, but it doesn't go down. And now the Lakers are coming down. That looked like Brian Shaw. Gets it to Kobe. Kobe gets it back to Shaw, the former Celtic. He's just going to work a little one-on-one magic there, seeing if he could take Kerr off the dribble. I don't see any reason why he can't. Tries to stroll to the goal, but gets called for steps. Well, look at that. A violation. Kudos to 2K for actually fitting in a traveling call in this game. You don't see that very often. So the ball is inbound and Ginobili has it. There's a little screen roll and a second screen roll, and he just kind of saunters to the lane with his left hand and does a little fancy pass to Malik Rose, and as he lays it in. So nice little driving there. Ginobili's really clever with the ball, and he always lulls people to sleep with that. He's a really fun player to watch, and especially in 2K. Okay, so yeah, Brian Shaw had the ball, and he had an entry pass to Shaq, but he passed it up, and they do eventually get it to him. He shoots a little runner in the lane, doesn't make it. So the Spurs are coming back down again, and there's Ginobili playing that kind of point shooting guard role that he was so good at. And another little pick and roll situation. He elevates like he's going to take a three, but he finds Steve Kerr in the corner for a three, but he doesn't make it. So that's a shot Kerr's got to make. That's actually kind of disappointing that he didn't make that. Okay, so there's a jump shot from the baseline, and he misses, but boom shakalaka. Shaquille O'Neal grabs the board and just throws it down with one hand. Not his most powerful, but surely getting the job done. That was a little homage to all you old school NBA Jam fans out there. You know what I'm talking about. And that must have really fired him up, because on the defensive end, he gets a block and he's looking to become more involved in this game. And of course, right on point, there he is in the post trying to score. He doesn't get it though. Kerr brings it down. I don't love that cross-court, across-the-body pass, but he gets away with it. Now, that looks like Steve Smith. There's a little pick and roll. He goes around, and it looked like he had a good lane to the basket, but he instead kind of throws in a long pass, another cross-court pass. Not the greatest trajectory on that pass, but hey, it worked out. Steve Kerr finally gets an open look and he splashes the three, so good job on him. I'd hate to sound like coach speak, but I wonder how many coaches, or fans for that matter, would love that long cross-court pass that seems like it's just waiting to be intercepted. Of course, this is NBA 2K, so it doesn't. Okay, so moving along here. We're coming up toward the end of the quarter, which will mean I'll wrap up the analysis at that time. So there was a bad shot down at the Lakers' end. He misses. Spurs got it. Now Ginobili, there's the screen. Comes off the screen roll, but instead of hitting the screener, he goes across and finds a wide open man in the corner for the three. Splash that three, so some good offensive movement. Once again, Manu Ginobili showing himself to be the playmaker he is. So here we are, under 10 seconds, Lakers have the ball. He throws the ball into Shaq in the post. Here comes the double team. And at the end of the quarter, hits the three-point shot. Very nice way to end the quarter. Shaquille O'Neal's got the Lakers going. And that will cut into that deficit that the Lakers have. So Spurs are up at the end of the first quarter. It certainly hasn't been the offensive onslaught we were probably expecting. Not a lot of points being put up there. I think it probably has to do with the fact that these are two of the best teams in this era playing each other, both defensively and offensively. I'm sure more points will be put up in the second quarter. And I'm sure they'll put more of an emphasis to get to the free throw line too. That helps. Anytime you could actually put up points while the clock is not rolling, that's only going to help your offensive output and your points per game, especially in these video games. Okay, well, as the game starts the second quarter here, I'm going to start wrapping things up, talk about some of the things I like and didn't like about this mode. I will preface my conclusion by saying this is an amendment to the first video I uploaded. Version 1 was out there. I wasn't very happy with the audio quality of version 1, so I created version 2, changed some stuff around. I also changed a little bit of my opinion and my outgoing analysis. So some things changed, some things came to light as I experimented and I played through some games, and I have a little bit of a different opinion on it, although not much, just altered slightly. While I do think the look and feel of the way the game plays, the way the offense moves and the defense reacts is good overall, and it's pleasing to watch, just some results, just some weird things that I've noticed through playing some league games on this mode has kind of shown some light on some things that might be a problem on this difficulty setting. And I think some of the results are definitely attributed directly to rookie mode problems. But I honestly don't think the situation is unfixable. It's just a matter of tweaking some slider settings here and there. It's mostly just about balance, about how the game balances over games, consistency. These are the kind of erratic results that I was seeing. For example, in my first game with the Celtics, they played the Pistons in a very up and down game, back and forth. I take the lead, they take the lead. Shooting percentages were in the upper 40s. It was just a solid game. We came out on top at the end. But then in game 2, we play the Cavaliers, not one of the league's better teams in 1983, and we smoked them by 27 or something. I think the Celtics shot 68% from the field. Not crazy results, but I was a little disappointed that it was that high volume. I was hoping for a little more realistic. But it wasn't even then that really brought my eyes to it. It was my second series that I started with the 1992 Bulls with Michael Jordan. And we played the Philadelphia 76ers in the first game of the season. I imported Charles Barkley, and he's dominant, of course. The Bulls offense just couldn't get anything going at all. It was weird watching it on rookie mode, how it played out. Because there's a player, 7'7", minute Bull, just a kind of a skinny, tall, athletic center who likes to shoot threes. I think we all know who Minute Bull is. One of my favorites from back in that era, but anyway, I digress. Every time Jordan got the ball and entered the lane, there's Minute Bull affecting his shots, swatting his shots. It was crazy. I think he had 11 blocks and probably affected another 5 or 6. Just totally rendered MJ ineffective inside. And I was just thinking, wow, this is like I never seen anything like it. It's the problem that 2K has with tall players. They just overvalue really tall players and really undervalue short players. But anyway, that's kind of a different issue altogether. If you're over 7'5" in this game, you could just affect the game in just strange ways. I'm sure if you were to ask Sean Bradley, who's 7'6" and didn't have any kind of a career like that, I'm sure he wishes that, real life, he got those kind of buffs and those kind of advantages. But in the NBA, it's a totally different thing. But in this particular league game, Minute Bull just had his way. I think he had 30 points, just pick and roll, and then 11 blocks and maybe like 2 steals, just totally dominated. The Bulls end up losing by 30 to the 76ers in Game 1, and this is a year after they won their first title. Not exactly what I was expecting to see. Now, I'm not against some unpredictable results, as I mentioned. It's why I play CPU versus CPU, but I started to take a hard look at just how rookie mode on CPU handles certain matchups, certain situations, and I started to rethink it. So I think it looks really good from like a one-game perspective, like this game, for example. 2002 Lakers versus Spurs looks very good. I think it's the value of the team, the deep roster, the star players. Things just work. Everything's going. O'Neal's not dominating. Duncan's not dominating. You didn't see a whole lot of it in this game. I'm not sure what dynamic was at play to make it look good. And I think it's kind of a one-off situation. But if you play into like a deep season, you might not get quite the results that you would expect. So that's why I think I'm going to do a slider analysis on Hall of Fame mode. And I think I'm going to start playing a season on Hall of Fame mode and start to evaluate that. Because something happened with the game. They must have updated it because it plays different now. When I first was doing these analysis like 2 months ago, it wasn't playing this smooth, but the game plays really good now, and I'm going to have fun recording that video and talking about that. I think the game's come a long way in the past 3 months. But not to take anything away from playing on rookie difficulty, you could see the game here. This is presented in rookie difficulty, and there's a lot of fun aspects of it. There's some pretty decent offense, but there's a lot of missed shots. There's good defense. It's just pretty well execution. I'm not unhappy with it. But I think when I'm doing what I do and I record a lot of video and I want to tell my stories and do my franchise videos and kind of go through those motions, I need something a little different. I think I need something a little more realistic for my tastes. Now that might not be for everybody, but it's all about finding what kind of gameplay you want, what you want the game to do, how you want it to represent ball, and if you're happy with it in whatever way you play, that's just ultimately what you got to do. I like this mode. I think it's great for a one-off game, and I might even do a video series in rookie if I just do the playoffs or something. But I'm gonna try out Hall of Fame. I'm gonna report the results back to you guys, and hopefully they don't update the game and change the game again, because they seem to do that. All these sports video games, they seem to update the game and it changes how it plays, and you always have to kind of watch your back on it. Can't really get into your franchises until late in the seasons, unfortunately. That's just kind of the way it goes. But alright, I've probably talked this video to death here, so hopefully you all enjoyed the gameplay footage on screen and hearing what I think about the various plays that happen and how it executes and what the sliders are. Those are always interesting. I love hearing other people's slider sets. And you can look forward to the Hall of Fame analysis coming out soon. And I'll be doing some Madden stuff too coming here in the near future. And you could also expect some more Larry Bird action with the Boston Celtics, and I'm going to be releasing that Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls set of videos also. So you can look forward to that. Alright. Thanks everyone for your patience in watching this, and just let me know in the comments whether you think I had some valid points or some points you want to make. And I'd love to hear it. This is Hendrix, signing off.